The moment that broke the peace did not arrive with noise. It came quietly, slipping into the room like a shadow no one noticed at first. The air was calm, too calm, the kind of calm that exists before something irreversible happens. She was standing there, doing what she always did, holding herself together so others could feel comfortable. No one saw the crack forming inside her. No one heard the scream trapped in her chest. Peace, she would later realize, is not the absence of conflict. Sometimes it is the silence that allows injustice to survive. She had learned early how to be quiet, not because she had nothing to say, but because speaking came with consequences she was never protected from. In her world, a good woman was one who adjusted, who endured, who learned to shrink her pain into something manageable for others. She became skilled at reading rooms, predicting moods, stepping carefully around fragile egos. She mistook survival for strength and patience for power. And for a long time it worked, at least on the outside. People admired her calm. They said she was strong because she never complained. They praised her patience, never asking what it cost her to maintain it. They loved the version of her that made them comfortable, the version that absorbed tension so others wouldn't have to. She smiled through disrespect, nodded through dismissal, and swallowed words that burned her throat. Each time she chose peace, she lost a piece of herself, but no one called that loss by its real name. The moment that broke the peace was not dramatic. There was no shouting, no slammed doors. It was a sentence spoken casually, almost carelessly, by someone who assumed she would accept it like everything else. A decision made about her life without her presence being considered necessary. In that instant, something shifted. Not around her, but within her. She felt it like a line being crossed, not by them, but by herself for the last time. She realized she had been confusing silence with dignity. She had been protecting a peace that never protected her. The calm she worked so hard to maintain had become a cage, and she was the one locking the door every day. That understanding didn't make her angry immediately. It made her clear. And clarity is far more dangerous than rage. Her hands trembled, not from fear, but from recognition. This was the moment. Not the kind written in stories where everything explodes at once, but the quiet internal fracture where a woman stops negotiating with her own worth. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't insult anyone. She simply refused to agree with what diminished her. That refusal was enough to disturb everything. They noticed the change before she said anything else. People always do when a woman stops over-explaining. The room felt different because she was different. She was no longer asking to be understood. She was stating what would no longer be tolerated. The peace shattered not because she became aggressive, but because she became honest. Resistance came quickly. It always does. They accused her of changing, of becoming difficult, of ruining harmony. Harmony, she realized, had always meant her compliance. The moment she stepped out of that role, she became the problem. But for the first time, being the problem did not scare her. It felt like truth. She walked away from conversations that went in circles. She stopped apologizing for boundaries. She allowed discomfort to exist without rushing to fix it. Every step felt unfamiliar, like learning to walk again on ground she was told never belonged to her. There were days she doubted herself, moments when the old habits begged her to return. But she remembered the cost of peace that required her silence, and she kept going. What people didn't understand was that she wasn't breaking the peace out of bitterness. She was breaking it out of respect for herself. A woman who finally chooses herself is often misunderstood because the world benefits from her self-neglect. When she stops offering it, the absence feels like loss to others, even though it is her recovery. She began to speak, not loudly, but clearly. Her words no longer asked for permission. They carried weight because they were rooted in self-respect. She didn't explain her pain to be validated. She acknowledged it to be free. Slowly, the fear that once controlled her lost its grip. Not because life became easier, but because she stopped abandoning herself to keep others comfortable. The peace she broke was never real. It was fragile, conditional, and built on her endurance. What replaced it was not chaos, but balance. Not everyone stayed. Some relationships could not survive her honesty. That loss hurt, but it did not destroy her. What destroyed her before was staying where she was unseen. She learned that strength does not always look like endurance. Sometimes it looks like refusal. Sometimes it looks like walking away without a dramatic exit. Sometimes it looks like saying no and allowing the silence that follows to exist. She stopped performing strength and started living it. The moment that broke the peace became the moment she reclaimed her life. Not all at once, but piece by piece. She chose herself in small, daily ways, by resting without guilt, by speaking without apology, by trusting her instincts again. The world did not suddenly become kind, but she became unbreakable in a way she never was before. And that is the truth few talk about. A brave woman is not one who endures everything quietly. A brave woman is one who recognizes when endurance becomes self-betrayal and dares to stop. The peace she broke was never worth keeping. The woman she became was.